Hi, and welcome to this demo about how to review or post-edit and review translations in the software translation application from SAP Translation Hub. Depending on your requirements, you can choose one of two scenarios. In the one-step scenario, a person in your organization would check and approve the translated texts in their target language. In the two-step scenario, a translator or a linguistic expert would first post-edit the translations in their target language. And in a second step, a subject matter expert would review and approve or reject the post-edited translations. First, a linguistic expert post-edits the translations. This step ensures linguistic accuracy and fluency. Next, a subject matter expert reviews the post-edited translations. They approve or reject the work based on content accuracy. Rejected translations are sent back for another round of post-editing, ensuring high-quality results. In summary, choose the one-step process for simplicity or the two-step process for thoroughness. Both ensure your translations meet your needs. To begin, let's add a new project. I'll choose a file project. Under project name, I'm going to enter a simple project name. I'm entering one-step process because we'll first look at the review required process. I'll leave the domain as general, the source language is English, and I'll choose German and French as my target languages. Under file type, I'm going to choose Android XML file. And under advanced settings, if you don't see it, please choose this icon to display the options. And here, we'll choose review required. I can then proceed to upload the files. I can choose to drag and drop a source file, or I can navigate to the file location to add the relevant file for translation. Here I'll choose the file and choose Upload. As you can see, the upload has been successful, and if I navigate to the Source Files tab, we can see the source file has been added there. We can now see Translate and Download, or we can choose Translate without download. I'll choose without download because I'd like to review the translations before downloading the target language file. I can see the translation progress in the bottom of the screen, and a success message is displayed when translation is complete. I'll now navigate to the Translations tab, and here we can see target language. French is up first. There are 13 texts. We have 13 in the review status here. I can click on the Lifecycle tabs to navigate and view the texts in each status. So, let's go to In Review and review the relevant text. I can review the text and approve them individually. If I need to make a manual change at this point, I can do so. And we see the texts have moved to the reviewed status. And because I made a manual change to this when I've saved my changes, we see the translation provider has changed to manual translator with the details about who made the changes on what date and at what time. Let's continue the review. I can filter by translation provider, for instance, or I can set a specific quality index. For instance, if I wanted to focus on lower quality text and perform the review of those first spending some time on them, that would be an option the reviewer would have. If I'm happy with all of the translations, I can choose Select All. I can approve all of the texts in batch. And we see we have none left in the In Review status. They have all moved to reviewed, and they all have the lifecycle status reviewed. I'll save my changes again. We can then also perform the review for a target language German. If I were a German reviewer and I would like to work in the application in German, I can set my Translation Hub settings to work with the application in language German. Again, as a reviewer, I can approve the text individually. I have 2 in status in review here. You can see that the quality index for SAP machine translations is 25%. And that is always the case for SAP machine translations to make sure that the reviewer is aware they should take the time to review the machine translated texts. I'll save the changes. I'll then go back. There are 11 texts left in the in-review status. Once I have gone through all of them, as before, I can select all and approve. I then save the changes and all of the texts have lifecycle status reviewed. I now have the option to download the translations and they'll be available in my Downloads folder. So, we've looked at the one-step process with review required. We'll now look at how to set up the two-step process, whereby we might have a linguistic expert perform the post-editing step and a subject matter expert, so a different person performing the review steps. To begin, I'll create a new project, and as before, I'll create a simple file project. I give it a name, this time two-step process post-editing and review. I'll leave the domain as general, source language as English, and as before, I'll choose French and German as target languages in this demonstration. I'll choose the same file type as before, the Android XML file that we worked with. And under Advanced Settings, this time I'll choose Post-Editing Required and Review Required. I can then proceed to upload the files. Again, I can drag and drop or navigate to the source file in my system and add it to the project. So I'm just going to choose my source file, and then I can upload it to the project. I can see the file has successfully been added. You can see Translate and Download here, but I'm going to choose Translate without download because I want to perform the two-step process before downloading the target files. We see the status at the bottom of the screen and a success message once the translation is complete. And then I can navigate to the Translations tab to perform this two-step review. Target language French is displayed first. There are 13 texts in total that were translated. None have status initial. All 13 are in the in-post editing step. We've got none in review as of yet, and we have none that have been reviewed. I'll choose the in-post editing step. As the post editor, I can individually check and complete the post-edit step for the translations, and you see that has then moved into in review. I'll save my change. I have 12 texts remaining in post editing. If I make a manual change to a text and save it, we can see this is updated in the translation provider information, and we see the name of the person who performed the change and the date and time of the change. I've performed the change and want to finish the post-edit for that text, and again, the text has moved into in review. I've saved my changes. I have 11 texts left to post-edit. This time I'm going to choose Select All, and I finish my post-edit. Now as reviewer, another person can perform the review step. If they are not happy with the change that was made, they can actually reject the text, in which case it goes back to the post-editing step. The post-editor will have to review this text again. I'll finish my post-edit. I'll save my changes. If I go back to the in-review step, the reviewer can then go through the different texts and approve them individually. If I now review the remaining texts, I would like to select all of them and approve them in batch. I now have 13 texts that have been reviewed. I'll now perform the two-step process for language German. There are 13 texts in total to be processed in German as there were for French. Again, I can individually finish the post-edit for the texts, and we see they've moved into the in-review status, I can batch approve the text from my post-edit, and then the reviewer can individually approve or reject the text, or they can approve in batch or reject in batch. We see that all 13 texts have gone through the post-editing and review stages, and they have been reviewed. So the two-step review is complete. I save the changes. And the project is complete. I can then download the translations. If I check my Downloads folder, I have a zip file named after the project, and it contains my target language files. This has been the overview explaining the two scenarios for reviewing translations in SAP Translation Hub. Thanks a lot for watching. To learn more, visit our website or contact our team.